So, welcome back, folks. This morning it was about 2 degrees, and it's been chilly all day. I made a dump run this morning, came back, and I pulled 5 or 6 logs up out of the ravine and put them at the landing. Those are the first logs I've pulled with the new winch on the tractor. So I didn't film those right off the bat. I wanted to try and learn the equipment a little bit before I did any video. I've never run one of these winches before, so it was a bit of a learning experience. I do have a friend that does logging now. He's also a retired IBMer. He retired 5 or 6 years before I did, and so he's got a lot of experience. He came over this morning and kind of went over the winch with me, and the things to be really careful about, because this winch has more than enough power to flip this tractor upside down, and pretty quick. So he gave me some pointers on how to deal with that, how to set myself up, and it went well. So now he's gone home, and I'm going to set up down there. I've got 2 small little ash trees that I cut that I'm going to pull up first. I'll pull those 2 together. And then I've got probably 5 or 6 more ash trees down there that before the emerald ash borer gets to them, I'm going to cut them down so that I can get some use out of them for some firewood. And so we're going to head back down to the barn. It's still cold, but it's such a beautiful day. The sky is just as clear and blue. It's a little cold for Maisie. She was out with us for a little bit this morning, but she got a little cold, so I brought her back inside, let her warm up, and then I just went inside and grabbed some lunch, made myself a sandwich quick, drank plenty of water, because man, even though it's so cold, I was wearing my sugaring sweatshirt, and jeepers, it was almost soaking wet by the time I got back up to the house. I was sweating so bad. So pulling this cable up and down these steep banks and de-limbing some trees and stuff, it's a fair amount of work. You work up quite a sweat doing it. So I am going to pull in here, and I'll show you what we've got done so far, and then we're going to head out back a little further to drag out those next few ash trees. Okay, so I got the Mini sitting in the sun, so hopefully later, if I get to it later, I'll use that to pick up these logs. But those are all the logs that I pulled up this morning. Let's see, there's a couple pretty good sized ones. They're all ash. I go over there. I'd say they're 25 feet, 30 feet tall is where I cut them off. And for normal firewood, you probably wouldn't leave those little rounds on the end, but this is for camp and for our neighbors at camp too. So I'll just cut those up, and I don't even think I'll split those on the ends, but that's what we've got so far today. And I'm going to get set up to grab the next 2. Okay, let's pull this out, and I'm going to grab onto those 2 little logs down there. So we need 2 of these chokers. And I got to be careful about those other logs, or those stumps in the culvert there. So what I did before is I ran this actually up around this pulley and then use that stump as a pivot. Okay, gonna run this through the pulley. Dave told me I should just put one on each tree when you're pulling them. Okay. We have several of the neighbors down at the lake have those solo stoves. So these smaller diameter trees are perfect for those. Okay. That should pull them up to the road, and then we'll undo the pulley. Now, if I had a self-releasing snatch block, I could pull them up, whoa, all the way up, have it self-release on this, and then come this way, but I don't have one of those. They're quite expensive. I run the RPM down at like 1100 because this thing pulls pretty fast. And here we go. Here they come. Okay, now we can pull that up to the tractor, and then we'll drag it the rest of the way to the landing. So what's going to happen here is it's going to pivot around that stump. I broke a piece of that off, but here she comes. And that's it. Now let's drag this up to the landing. Perfect for campfire wood. Okay. All right, now we're gonna push those into the pile. Maisie! Hey, Maisie! Oh, what a beautiful day today. Let's take down these. They're awful steep bank here. I'm gonna try and avoid that culvert at all costs. on. Perfect. Right where I wanted it. Let's delimb that a little bit first before I drop another one on it. It's really cold out. The saw takes a while to warm up. Okay, I'm going to take these three here next. I'll leave a little bit of the stump sticking out so it's easier for me to yank in the spring. Okay, this one's next. It's going. Oh, and there's not much holding it there. It's still cracking and popping a little bit. Perfect. Okay, let's go delimb that one. Then we'll take these next two. And I also, with this stump, I can still use the strap on it. Okay, let's delimb this one up. Laying right on top of the other one. It's perfect. Almost like I know what I'm doing. Crawling in and out of this ravine is the hard part of this job. So slippery. And it's steep. That one's leaning back. I have to be careful. It's definitely leaning to the right and back. Well, let's see if I can get it to go that way. If I have to, I'll grab some wedges. All right. Turn out, but I put the winch around the tree and just put a little tension on it, and it followed the notch the way that I wanted it to fall. It landed right on top of the other two, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. So let's go delimb that, and then we're gonna drag all three of them up to the landing. Okay, those are delimbed. Now, if I can get back up here, we're gonna tie on to all three of these and drag them up to the landing. There it goes. Perfect. Okay, so they pivoted around that stump pretty well. One of them jumped over the culvert, but that was a smaller one. So here we got those three logs, and I'm gonna lift it a little bit, and then we're gonna drag them up to the landing. Was right here. From pulling those around that stump when I got hung up, it dragged the tractor with the brakes on and the blade along the ground, but it's so frozen now that it really just skipping along. It's not biting into the ground. Looks like I didn't get all the tops off. It's all right, I'll cut those once I get it in the pile here with the rest of them, I guess. So I lubricated this cable. They said it was a good idea to do that. So I bought some chain and cable lube for like bicycle chains and bicycle cables. This thing's got tons of storage on it for all this stuff. I really like the way this winch is set up. We're gonna have to trim off those branches. Okay, let's delimb and trim the top of this off. Okay. Push those into the pile. There. I just put my saw in the bucket because I'm not used to having a place to carry it, but that's a nice spot right there. They've got set up sleeves that go in there. Carries the saw. And these storage bins are super deep and big. I've got 24 feet of choker chain in this one. No problem. And then I got 2 cans of lube in that one. and the strap for to keep the 4-inch wide pulley strap tightened up. Of course, I got my maul right there. Yeah, let's push this stuff over the bank a little bit, get it out of the way, and then we'll go cut some more trees. We're gonna take down these 3 here on the left. So what I want to do is I want to reshape this so that bank by the road going up there is not so steep. We're going to reshape that. I'm going to take that material and build a nice flat spot up there. And we're going to put a fire pit there, so it'll be a nice private spot for us to hang out and have a fire and have a few cold ones with our friends. Should be a nice spot. And you can see here on the other side, this is where I pulled up those 3 big ash trees. We pulled them up here. I drove down. I've got a culvert down below and that little brook on the right. And then I drove up and around those trees and then came straight up here. And boy, those chains dug in really well. I got about a quarter of the way up and started to spin a little bit. And so I just put the winch into free spool mode, drove the tractor up here to the top, dropped the blade, winched the logs back up tight, and then drove it out the road and back to the landing. That one should go straight across the road. It is trying to go away from us a little bit too, like kind of that way, but I'm gonna try and drop it in the same spot as the other ones. Nice. Well, I'm glad I caught these before that emerald ash borer got to these, because I've got some ashes on the other side of the property that are dead. So this wood's still perfect, so this will make some great firewood. All right, let's delimb this one up. This is a nice tree. Good size too. So I've been wanting to cut these because this area here was so choked up with trees that you know, nothing had a nice big canopy. So I'm opening this up. I'm leaving a bunch of maples and cherry trees, a few beech trees, and I want them to have room so that they can get some nice big canopies instead of, you know, being so close together that they're small on the top. So it'll make for a nicer view from the top from our property looking down here. We'll be able to look deeper into the woods. My goal is to get it clear down to where the pond is down below. It's kind of swampy pond area, natural. Yeah, let's cut the limbs up off this, and then we'll drag it cut another one. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave this all together, drag it up in one piece. Nothing ever looks steep on the GoPro, but this is steep. This is a nice tree too. This is gonna make some great firewood. Beautiful. I'm gonna need to use that stump for a pivot again, so I'm gonna start down here and I don't know if this is starting to pull out easier or not, but it does seem like it takes an awful lot to pull this cable out. Like something's dragging in there. Might have to ask those guys about that, because I don't think it's supposed to be that hard to pull. Ugh. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can pull that one up and around. There we go. Perfect. We're right up around that stump. Ideal. Nice. Okay, let's yank it up to the landing. Okay. So the plan is I'll bring the excavator over. I'll pick these up in the middle and I'll just start cutting off from both ends. I love doing that with the excavator because I can cut at waist height that way. I don't have to bend over with a saw. We'll start cutting these up. I might cut them into 12-footers and just keep them in this pile over here with the others. And then it looks like in a couple weeks my cousin Tom might be coming up. And so I might do the bucking up with when he's here. I can just be in the excavator and hold them for him and then pile all the rounds. And he's pretty good with a saw, so I'll let him do all the bucking up with a saw. But yeah, this is a nice tree. Let's push this one in the pile. Yeah, that's a new view up front. That's my Kaufman trailer. It's a hydraulic dampened tilt bed, 24 foot, and it's a 17,000 pound trailer. It's got the 8,000 pound axles and wheels. You can see the rims are solid, like 5/16 or 3/8 steel. They are massive. I don't even know if I need a notch on this one, but I'll put a little one in. Nice. Definitely bends out uphill, but then it kind of comes back and towards me a little bit. I'm going to try and drop it across the road. Let's see what happens. There she goes. Sweet. Not exactly where I wanted it, but it can be easy to trim. It's in the road. I went and had lunch with some of my buddies that I used to work with. Had lunch with them yesterday to our favorite sandwich shop. And they asked how retirement was going, and it must be nice to relax, get up when you want. And I'm like, no, that's absolutely not the case. I still get up the same time I always did, 5 o'clock. But now, when I get up, I got a smile on my face, because I know I don't have to deal with anybody from the executive management team about anything that has been going wrong. Which, there's always something that's going wrong in that business, high-tech business. I think I told folks before that I worked for 38 years for IBM, and they were great years, but they're moving my lab to New York, so rather than stick around until they boot me to the curb, I said, you know what, I'll leave on my own terms. I'm gonna retire. And it felt great to be able to do that. This should come pretty easy. Oh yeah. Nice. Okay. That's good. And now I'll move forward and we'll hook on to this other one. I think I'll grab this stuff though while we're down here. Well, if you're still watching, I appreciate you hanging out with me today. It's a fun day. Got to use the new winch. Still learning. I think I said earlier, I've never used one before, so it's been a steep learning curve, but it's going well. Let's see what else is down here. Anything besides the camera? Wow. Look at all those tops down there. I may at some time wrap chains around all that brush and pull those piles up here, and then I can grab it with a grapple and get it in the brush pile so we can burn it. But there's a lot in there. Holy cow. So we're gonna put this over here. Okay, that'll go in there. Okay, that's it. I just need to move up a little bit so I can tie that chain choker on this little tree, and then we'll haul it all up to the landing. Okay, nice. I'm gonna sleep good tonight. Holy cow. I thought sugaring was tough. This is what I've been doing on this is my work that I was planning on doing on my days off from sugaring, but it might end up being the other way around. But we are almost done tapping, and things are going well up in the woods. And I think it's either Monday or Tuesday we should be that should work. I need a little slack so that it doesn't come up at the same time. Okay, perfect. Okay, final pull of the day. What a glorious day. Cold, but that sun sure feels good. Let's make sure the slack is not going to get pinched when I drop this. All right. All right. I don't know if I can get that out of there. There we go. Shorten that up a little bit more. I want that to go as slow as possible. Okay, good. All right, one last push. I can get by there. That's good. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's 14 trees now up here. And they're all pretty clean. The ground's nice and frozen. That is going to be some beautiful campfire wood. So excited. Of course, this is just the first step. But over here, this is the stuff I cut a few weeks ago. And I hauled out with the excavator. That's why these are shorter. But I've got about 25, probably 25 logs there. They're all around 12 feet. There's a couple shorter ones, but most of them are around 12 feet. Yeah, so we're gonna shoot right up this hill here to the house. Never even spin a tire. This is an awesome setup. Okay, let's go back in the garage so we don't have to start this thing in the freezing cold again like we did today. Keep it a little warmer in here overnight. Okay, folks. Hey, thanks for sticking around. And it was a fun day. I hope you guys enjoy the video. I know I'm enjoying this winch. It's great. It's working great. The only thing I got to do is I got to read up a little bit on, maybe there's an adjustment on how much tension there is for when I'm unspooling it and pulling it, because thankfully I was pulling it downhill, which helped, but if I got to pull it uphill or on a flat, boy, that'd be pretty hard with a slippery snow. But anyways, we'll see you next time, folks.